Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a toxic legend and our rank 1 in the world team here from Snot, so congrats to them. Going to be linked in the description, of course. As always, you're going to have the lead of the Wigglytuff, and we're going to have a Shadow Mudslap in the back. So we have a lot of fast move pressure, and to give a bit of bulk, we're going to have the DSP as our Saysop here. So this team is quite interesting. We're going to have double ground, double normal, which is also already giving you maybe a bit of a weakness against certain types. We're going to talk about this in today's video as well. We're going to have the Wigglytuff in the lead. Could be that I did not play the matchups all correctly here. I'm going to try to get rid of the jump off because our backline doesn't like it, and we're going to meet up with that Feraligatr now, which is not ideal, but we can go for the Fire Punch bait here. That is still going to allow us to get a shield very likely, and so we're not in a worse spot, especially as our backline, like our Pokemon in the back, the Marowak, is going to do a lot of Mudslap damage. But not only this, we're also going to have still the Wigglytuff, which can take the hits quite easy in terms of the fast move pressure, and so we have some options here. And my option here is going to go for the Wigglytuff, getting some damage in, and I will let the move go through, hoping that I can Mudslap them down faster. Mudslap is going to be a bit of a harder hitting move thanks to the Shadow bonus that we have, and so the opponent goes down, and in the back there's going to be that Machamp lurking, which you're going to be able to hit with that Bone Club, which got a huge buff this season. Literally completely changes the matchups for this Pokemon here. And Marowak showcases why it's so strong right now. Honestly, ridiculous, and we're going to be able to move on to the next opponent. We're going to encounter another Feraligatr here, so the second one already. Feraligatr seems to be a bit more common this season as well, like this season, but like in the last few battles that I did. Didn't really see it too much before, really. Like it still like definitely was like a solid Pokemon before. Here we saw myself staying in for a bit too long with my lead. Why is that the case? Because we have frame drops, and frame drops are annoying, and I wasn't able to swap out in time. But it doesn't really matter because we get at least a ton of energy here. We are going to be able to go ahead and go for some Bone Clubs against the opponent's Feraligatr. I'm not even going to risk like the extra free fast move here because I just want to get rid of a shield at least and get them kind of low. We see more lag coming through, which I don't think really impacts it here. But the Hydro Cannon is going to knock us out. We can go into the Wigglytuff. We can go for the Icy Wind, and like this, we're going to be able to align our Diggersby against the opponent's Diggersby, but the opponent has a -1 attack start basically here, which is going to be great for us. So now what we kind of need to do is we kind of still need to keep some energy on our Diggersby, because I would assume that the opponent gonna try to swap out eventually into their Feraligatr, and we have to try to keep in mind the switch clock as well. And so I'm kind of fairly certain here that the opponent gonna try to swap out after this one, and they do, and so we can at least still go for the Fire Punch because we stored up the energy beforehand. This is gonna allow us to get that final shield. We can go into our Wigglytuff. They might be able to knock us out here still, which I don't think they actually are, and we should be able to survive on Hydro Cannon, and so this game is definitely over and we can move on to the next opponent. Wigglytuff against Azumarill, and maybe this is a great time to talk a bit about some weaknesses of this team, and Azumarill is one of them, of course. We're going to have two ground types in the back. Both of them are going to have those weaknesses to water, grass, as well as ice typing, and yeah, that is a bit of an issue against the current meta. There was one Pokemon in particular, which you're very likely going to see here today as well still, which I found very difficult to get rid of. It is not even Azumarill. Azumarill is still kind of fine because Azumarill is so bulky that it kind of sits there that we can still do damage with every kind of Pokemon that we have. The big issue is, one of them would be actually Talonflame. Talonflame, if we have no energy on our last Pokemon there, it's also a bit of an awkward one. Of course, we have Rock Slide as coverage, but our lead cannot really do anything against it. Our Diggersby has some issues against it as well. But the one Pokemon that I really don't want to face with this team is actually Dewgong. Dewgong is really difficult for me to deal with as our backline really takes super effective hits, and even against our lead it is a bit of an awkward matchup, so Dewgong is for sure a bit of a trickier one. The rest was kind of fine. I feel like the rest definitely kind of works out well there. We're gonna try to maybe catch a move here, which works out. I should have most likely not went for the extra free fast move there, because now the opponent gets the move off before I can go for an Icy Wind, which is a little bit annoying. I can still go for a charge move here, but what we're gonna see here is because the opponent has Flame Charge, it is going to be a bit of an annoying thing here, as they're going to do so much damage against me already. We have to hope there's something in the back, like maybe a Drapion, which we would be able to still knock out. But let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be the Ferrothorn. There's nothing I can do about it. Ferrothorn most likely would have knocked us out already alone because of the typing. We're going to move on now to the next opponent. Having Whimsicott in the lead is going to be again a Pokemon that I don't want to face with my backline. And so I decided to use a shield here. And they decide to go for the Seed Bomb bait, which is a bit annoying, but it is fine. I gotta try to go for another one, but at this point, I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm just gonna go for the full farm down. I think that's going to be my best play. Yes, of course, we're gonna be 2 shields down now, but we're also going to have 2 Pokemon in the back that would be weak to the grass typing, and so it is a bit of an annoying thing here anyway. I try to get some extra energy with my Diggersby, and as you're gonna see here, the opponent has in the back that Diggersby, that Dugong, of course, against our Diggersby, and that is going to be a bit of an awkward one. Luckily, we're going to get the debuff here, which is going to change quite a bit for us, because now we can take a hit quite easily. The opponent is going to still have to go for another charge move here. I can still go for a Scorching Sand, and like the game is not over because of that debuff there. I got 30% chance there, was definitely quite lucky, but look at this, like we barely do any damage, and they're still going to be able to reach for another Icy Wind here. If we got another debuff, by the way, I would be able to get another Scorching Sands off, but it is what it is. We're going to be able to swap out here. The opponent has a Clodsire in the back, which kinda brings us back into the game, allowing us to hit that Icy Wind, and now we're gonna try to go for the full farm down with the Marowak. That is our only way of winning the battle. We have to get as much energy as possible here. The Clodsire is not too much of an issue, as they are going to be able to go for the full farm down. And so, yeah, we have a ton of energy. The opponent still has 2 Pokemon, though. And so we have to hope that they don't catch the move. We are going to see here the move coming through from us. It's going to be the bait of Bone Club. They are not shielding this one. I can still go for another charge move here, which is going to be enough to knock them out as well. And so, oh no, actually not. We have to go for another fast move, but still, we're going to be able to win the battle. Next opponent, Talonflame in the lead. That is not ideal whatsoever. Like, this is literally one of the worst possible matchups that I could encounter. We get the free fast move in here, which is at least kind of good. They went straight for the charge move. I decided to use a shield just in case it is going to be that Brave Bird, but they decided to go for a fly, and I have to hope for a debuff here as well. A debuff would really help us out, but they swap out anyway into the Gastrodon. Gastrodon can be a bit of an issue, but usually it is going to be fine for our team here. Like, we're still going to do some neutral damage with basically every Pokemon. They're usually not running the water type move, they're usually running Earth Power, as you're gonna see here as well, so we can take a hit even as well. And so it is not the worst, but it's also not a great matchup at all. And so we're gonna get the shield here, which I'm actually quite happy about, because now I can go into my Wigglytuff, I can take a hit, and I maybe need to go ahead and swap out afterwards into my Marowak to get some energy advantage. Could see that. I'm not gonna do that. I decide to stay in, and I decide to let the move go through, I think, at this point. The opponent would just get too much damage onto me, otherwise we have to go for the full farm down here basically in order to have a chance. I guess I can still go for a charge move and force the final shield from them, but we have to hope again basically that we are going to be able to get something in the back that we can deal with. That is not a Ferrothorn. Please don't be a Ferrothorn again. Fly is coming through, we can get the full farm down. We know that there's one Pokemon in the back that we can deal with, but sadly it is going to be a Clefable, and Clefable is going to be very fast to charge moves. Only needing 4 fast moves to get to the Swift is going to be enough for them to knock us out, and so he's sadly going to lose this battle, but we can move on to the next opponent. We're gonna go up against an official caster here, so let's see how this is gonna go. We're going to have the Marowak against an elite, not ideal, but also not too bad. We're gonna be able to sneak in all the fast moves all the time, which is really cool for us. So here in comes the Dugong. I don't like Dugong. That is not a great matchup for us whatsoever. Our backline is really weak to this Pokemon, so how are we gonna try to win this battle now? I'm gonna let the move go through. We should be able to barely survive like a Swift here, and if we get them low even further here, basically we're gonna be fine. But I actually decide to swap out and try to go for the full farm down with my Marowak. Marowak does quite a lot of damage here with the fast move alone, and as you're gonna see, we perfectly get the full farm down. Having 2 Bone Clubs now can be quite crucial. As they're gonna go into their own Marowak, we're gonna be able to go ahead and go for our own Bone Club, get the first shield, get another one off. I think I have an Icy Wind now stored as well, still on our Wigglytuff. And as I let the move go through, we're gonna be able to go back into our Diggersby. They swap out into the Toxapex, and that is going to be great, as Toxapex is going to be very weak to us. The game is still not over though. What we have to kind of think about is that they are very likely going to try to swap out eventually, as they still have energy stored on that Marowak, so they're going to be able to go for a Bone Club if they want to. So it's going to be a bit of a tough matchup here. We're going to be able to go for that Scorching Sands, but I would assume that the Switch Lock is going to be up for them now as well after this charge move. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap out, hoping that they're going to swap out as well, and it works out perfectly, catching the move here, even though I had no idea about the Switch Lock from the opponent, as course, I was just basically going by the time that I think passed, as my switch clock was up the entire time. And so we are going to be able to go for that Scorching Sand and win the battle, and what a battle that was. Okay, Ninetales is going to be part of Snow. We will not find out yet, but we're going to have the Azumarill against us. And we have to be a bit careful here. Azumarill is an okay matchup for us, don't get me wrong here. But of course, we're going to have a bit of a weakness to Ice in the back as well. Like, Weather Ball will destroy our backline, especially if they have Powder Snow. I decided to use a shield here with my own Wigglytuff. I should be able to knock out the Azumarill in time here if they let the move go through. But I actually want them to use a shield here, which they don't. And now we are in a very tough spot because, yeah, the opponents at like 1 HP, they still get a player off there. We're going to be very, very low, and I can try to get some extra energy with my Diggersby. But as the opponent decides to swap out into their Umbreon now, I'm fairly certain they're running Charm on their Ninetales, and that is good information for us already, as now we can go for a Scorching Sand, and we're gonna try to basically get all this matchup. Mostly I swap out into the Wigglytuff as soon as we can again, while still storing our shield, and also storing all of our Fire Punches. We need the Fire Punch against the opponent's Ninetales. They can even go for another Charge move if they want to, but we're gonna be able to bait them out, and yes, they're going to have Charm, which we were able to guess anyway based on their behavior there. We're gonna be able to go for one Fire Punch, and going at the shield, we can go for another Fire Punch. This is going to very likely gonna get the next shield as well. And yes, we're most likely going to have to use a shield against the opponent here, but it's going to be fine because now we are going to be able to get the knockout against the Ninetales, and that is already way better than anything else. Fire Punch should most likely actually not even get the knockout. I think it doesn't do enough damage, but we can go for one more Mud Slap or two more Mud Slaps, and we're going to be able to knock them out with that. And so it's down now to the Umbreon against our Mud Slapper, and every single time they go for a charge move, we get a free fast move through, and Foul Play is not enough to two-shot us either, apparently, and so we are going to be fine. We can go for a Bone Club, get them low, and get another free fast move in. I don't think this is going to be enough based on the damage we saw before, and so we are going to be able to get even another one in and knock them out. Next opponent, we're going to have Wigglytuff against the Feraligatr. Again, a matchup that is quite okay for us. We're going to be able to go for the full Charm down here against the opponent. This is going to be fine. We're going to use a shield. This is hopefully going to work out. Hydrokin is coming through. We're going to try our best here as we're going to see the charge move coming through from them. Hydro Cannon is going to get us insanely low, but at least we're going to get rid of the opponent's Pokemon as they're going to reveal that they have a Chestnut in the back. And actually, this is going to be kind of fine for us. We know that we still have our Mud Slapper against the Poison type of them. We have the Fire Punch against the Chestnut here. I should let the move go through here for sure, which I do as well. It's going to be a friendly plan. It doesn't knock us out, but we can go for another Fire Punch. That is going to be fine. But yeah, I'll make a bit of a mistake here, I think, a bit later on. The opponent gets a ton of energy, which is not ideal. I try to go straight for the Icy Wind, which is going to force the opponent's shield here most likely, and that's going to be cool. But yeah, they're going to swap out. We had some lag there, which was not ideal, and that lag actually going to benefit the opponent quite a bit, as the Awkward Tail is going to two-shot us. I'm going to try to go for my Bone Club, but we lose the CMP tie. And with that, we're gonna lose the battle as well. We had to get to that move in time, otherwise there was no way of winning the battle, as, yeah, again, the opponent has some energy on the Chestnut, and so sadly we're gonna lose here. Again, without the lag, most likely we had some chance. And that's something that I see online as well. Like, a lot of people complain still about the lag, and also how play Pokemon tournaments don't have as much people attending for them, mainly because of the issues of the game right now. I really hope that they're gonna focus a bit more onto PvP again. There has been no change to PvP other than, of course, a league change since, I think, basically the last World Championship. And so, yeah, there has to be definitely done more stuff towards PvP. If they don't do it, I feel like, especially the play Pokemon tournaments, I'm most certainly not gonna be there for too long, sadly. But yeah, hopefully Niantic is going to do something there. We have to hope. We also have to hope that we don't get a debuff here, which would be very good for us when we get them immediately, which is going to make the matchup impossible for us to win. So that's great. We have to hope that we're going to get our own debuff, which we don't. And so yeah, this matchup is really bad for us. Now, I can still go for another Scorching Sands here. Is going to hopefully get the debuff this time around. It is not, and so we have a very bad matchup for us ahead. So they're going to be able to go for 2 Scorching Sands in time for sure. Never mind, they go for the Hyper Beam, that's even funnier. And so we're gonna be able to go into our Mudslap boy, and Marowak is just trying to get as much energy as possible. Weirdly enough, the opponent doesn't want to swap out here even afterwards, I think. And so, yeah, we're gonna get a ton of energy, and they just forfeit because they very likely have a Poison type in the back. Final battle for today, we're going to have Feraligatr. And so we can now talk a bit about also on how I like this team and if I would recommend it to you. I definitely went positive with this team, which is cool to see. Like, definitely a solid team for that. Here, by the way, really big mistake. I should have went for the Icy Wind. There was no reason to go for the Swift there. Like, literally zero reason. Icy Wind would have made the matchup so much better. But generally speaking, there are issues for this team. Like, especially Dugong. If you encounter a lot of Dugong in your meta, basically don't run this team. Like, this team is very weak to Dugong. Very weak to a lot of the water types. But it's still very cool for the current meta because there's so many poison types and you have 2 ground type Pokemon for them. So that is really cool. Could also see that maybe they were running Hyper Beam on the Diggersby, which maybe would also make some sense on it. Would be definitely an interesting one there for it. But yeah, as you can see here, we're gonna go up against the Feraligatr, which is kind of cool. We're very likely going to yeah, go for the Fire Punch here. It's going to be able to get them kind of low. They're getting a ton of energy, but hopefully I am going to be able to just let the move go through here, let the move go through against our Wigglytuff. We can farm them down, and now it just depends on what they're going to have in the bag. Hurricane coming through. It is going to be Ariados, and that is not ideal for us, but I think we're still going to be fine here. Ariados has access to the charge move of Trailblaze doing super effective damage, but I think without the buff, I think we're going to be fine here. We just have to reach another Bone Club afterwards as well. We're gonna let the move go through. It is going to do a ton of damage, but just barely not enough, allowing us to go for the shield here. And I think that next charge move is going to be enough to knock them out, as this is going to do some nice neutral damage. Even with a debuff onto us, it should be enough. And so it's now down to us farming down that Feraligatr. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.